A good horror film is not just a collection of frightening moments and gory scenes. It is a complex dance between fear and suspense, drawing the audience into a world where the unknown lurks in the shadows. At its core, a good horror film is a masterful exploration of the human psyche, tapping into our deepest fears and primal instincts. One of the hallmarks of a good horror film is its ability to create atmosphere and suspense, surrounding the audience with an aura of horror from the very beginning. Whether through creepy sound, disturbing images, or masterful use of lighting, a well-created atmosphere prepares the ground for the terror to come. Also, character development is crucial in a good horror film, as the audience must care about the fate of the characters to truly become involved in their drama. Whether through understandable motivations, complex relationships, or interesting backstories, well-crafted characters add depth and emotional resonance to the horror experience. Finally, a good horror film leaves a lasting impression, cementing itself in viewers' minds long after the screening is over. Whether through harrowing themes, frightening images, or shocking plot twists, a good horror film challenges viewers to confront their own fears and assumptions, leaving them to question the nature of reality itself. In today's video, I have prepared for you a list of the 5 scariest horror movies, after watching which you won't be able to sleep.
Hey, don't you run away. Stay with me.
Number 1. Cannibal Holocaust.
Oh, good Lord. It's unbelievable. It's horrible.
The film Cannibal Holocaust, directed by Ruggero Deodato, is one of the most controversial works in the history of cinema. It premiered in 1980 and has been stirring up extreme emotions and debates ever since due to its drastic subject matter and controversial approach to the art of filmmaking. The film is set in the Amazon jungle, where a group of documentary filmmakers go to make a film about indigenous tribes. After a long period of absence, when the crew does not return home, they embark on a rescue mission. What they discover exceeds the limits of human understanding of cruelty and barbarism. One of the most controversial elements of Cannibal Holocaust is the way it was made. The film contains authentic scenes of the killing of animals, which has drawn harsh criticism from the film community and animal rights organizations. Deodato was accused of animal abuse and cruelty, which affected his subsequent career. However, the film is not limited to horrific images. It also challenges the limits of morality, media ethics, and human civilization. By showing the drastic behavior and manipulation of the media, Cannibal Holocaust forces viewers to reflect on the nature of human cruelty and the dangers of colonialism and imperialism. Despite its controversial subject matter and method of production, Cannibal Holocaust has gained cult status, influencing the horror genre and broader popular culture. Despite the outrage it caused, it undeniably remains one of the most influential and discussed films in cinema history. And for those who are new, be sure to click subscribe at the bottom to receive notifications of new films. Number 2. A Serbian Film. A Serbian Film is a 2010 feature film directed by Srđan Spasojević. It is an extremely controversial work that shocked the cinema world with its disturbing subject matter and drastic scenes. The plot revolves around the main character, Miloš, a former adult film actor who is forced to return to the adult film industry in order to make money for his family. However, as Miloš becomes involved in a new film project, he discovers that the reality of this world is much more frightening than he imagined. One of the most shocking aspects of A Serbian Film is the way it depicts violence and depravity, going to extreme scenes that push the boundaries of people's idea of what is acceptable in cinema. The film attracted huge controversy and criticism from the film community and human rights organizations, which accused it of excessive brutality and promoting violence. Number 3. The Human Centipede movie. The Human Centipede film series, directed by Tom Six, is one of the most controversial works in the history of cinema. The first part of the trilogy is a film that has earned itself the status of a cult masterpiece of gore cinema. The plot revolves around Dr. Heider, a German surgeon who has an obsessive vision of creating a human mid-story. After kidnapping 2 American tourists, Dr. Hyder embarks on his macabre experiment. He creates 3 humans by surgically connecting them from anus to mouth, thus creating a human centipede. The second part of the trilogy, The Human Centipede 2, is an even more shocking journey into the dark recesses of the human psyche.
What is this? 100% medically accurate. One digestive system? Is this a perverted film you've been talking about?
This time we follow Martin, an obsessive fan of the first part of the film, who decides to recreate Dr. Hyder's experiment on his own. In his frenzied obsession, Martin collects victims and does a crazy experiment with them. The final part of the trilogy, The Human Centipede 3, is a peak explosion of brutality and madness.
I think I have a solution. No more prison fights. No more assaults on God.
This time we follow Bill Boss, a prison director who has an obsessive vision of creating a giant human centipede as a form of punishment for prisoners. Together with the help of his subordinate, Dwight Butler, Boss tries to realize his dark dream. If I'm being honest, don't watch this movie as you're eating. It's disgusting to the power. Number 4, Grotesque. In the field of horror films, there are works that push the boundaries of acceptability, provoking discussions about the limits of art and morality. One such film is Grotesque, a 2009 Japanese horror film directed by Koji Shiraishi. The film sparked controversy around the world for its drastic nature and brutality, leaving a lasting impression on viewers. The plot of Grotesque revolves around a young couple, Ikeyama and Kazuya, who are kidnapped by a mysterious man and imprisoned in an abandoned building. From that moment on, their lives turn into hell as the sadistic kidnapper begins a series of cruel torture and violence, with no qualms or mercy for them. The couple must fight for survival in the face of the unimaginable horrors to which they are subjected. The idea behind Grotesque is bold and controversial. Director Koji Shiraishi set out to create a film that would shock viewers to the marrow with horrific scenes of violence and cruelty. It's no secret that this work is extremely controversial and intended only for the most persistent viewers, ready to confront the darkest aspects of the human psyche. It is worth noting that the film has been banned in many countries due to its extreme subject matter. Number 5, The Bunny Game. The plot of The Bunny Game revolves around a prostitute who is kidnapped by a sadistic truck driver and subjected to a series of horrific torture and violence. The main character, known only as Bunny, has to face a cruel man who depraves and humiliates her with no mercy for her. Her struggle for survival becomes a dramatic battle for life and dignity in the face of unimaginable horror. The filmmaking of The Bunny Game is as impressive as it is disturbing. Remeyer used a crude aesthetic and minimalist style to emphasize the cruelty and mercilessness with which the on-screen violence is presented. The cinematography is raw, the editing is dynamic, and the soundtrack is mesmerizing, making this film get under the viewer's skin and stay there long after the screening is over. Despite the controversy and criticism, The Bunny Game won over a certain fan base who were looking for something more than just an average horror film. For those who dare to reach for this drastic masterpiece, the film is an unforgettable experience that will forever change their perception of cinema and the art of filmmaking. You may be familiar with the cartoon Koi-san the Cowardly Dog.
Return the slab.
As little as I was, it made shit out of my brain. I cordially refer you to the previous episode about the dog. I leave you a note. Greetings.